It has been one of the Democrats' rallying cries since day one. Impeach the president. Now, one Harvard law professor taking it to a whole different level.
You can't be the boy who cried wolf and expect to have a viable impeachment power. You can't use it over and over again against the same president.
Right.
If you're going to shoot him, you've got to shoot to kill.
So where's the outrage? Here to weigh in, columnist for The Hill, Joe Concha. Joe, good morning to you.
How are you?
Doing better than he is. He was out promoting his new impeachment book, and he really stepped in it.
Well, it appears so. But what he has stepped in is basically not a lot of controversy in terms of the press holding him to account for making that remark.
Right.
And there's an affliction, Steve, in this country that is sweeping the entire nation, and that is the affliction of selective outrage. And what I mean by that is, I go back to August of 2016, and candidate Trump, and he brings up the right to bear arms, and if Hillary Clinton is elected, the judges she appoints to the Supreme Court could take that Second Amendment away,
right,
or at least change it. And he says, and I quote, "If she gets to pick her judges, nothing you could do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know." He later says, "Pro-Second Amendment citizens must organize and get out to vote to save our Constitution." Here are the headlines that were a result of Trump just saying that.
That was big.
Right. Oh, my gosh. Huffington Post, Donald Trump suggests shooting Hillary Clinton, her Supreme Court picks, or both. Or The Atlantic, Trump's Second Amendment comment cannot be excused. The point is, if a Republican or a conservative says something like this, the condemnation is overwhelming. If it happens with somebody like Lawrence Tribe, who's a Harvard law professor.
Friends with the Obamas. And where's the selective outrage?
Selective outrage, which is sweeping the country like the Macarena in 1996.
Love the Macarena.
Yeah.
He did, to his credit, apologize. He wrote this on Twitter. "In an otherwise good interview, I made a terrible word choice saying an impeachment bullet can only be shot once, so one must shoot to kill. I wasn't speaking literally, but as one who works hard to reduce gun violence, this was just inexcusable. I am very sorry."
That's very Trumpian, isn't it? In an otherwise good interview. Like, you could leave that part out when doing the apology.
Sure.
Right?
I also remember the time that Sarah Palin got in big trouble with selective outrage over a graphic that was used in one of her campaign things. It was before Gabby Giffords was shot down in Arizona, but nonetheless, the outrage was intense.
Oh, to the point where when Gabby Giffords and the horrible shooting that happened in Arizona, Sarah Palin was blamed directly because she had campaign flyers out saying that these districts are in the crosshairs in terms of what we're targeting.
But to your point, the outrage was there because she was a conservative.
Well, that's exactly right. And look, we see Kathy Griffin. Remember, she held up a likeness of President Trump, and this was exactly a year ago. She's on The View just 2 weeks ago getting a standing ovation while most of the hosts on that show were applauding her for what she did. Remember Shakespeare in the Park just last summer? Graphically murdering the president basically on stage, standing ovations every night, and the press defended it. The point is that this is now the new normal, and it never would have been in a billion years the new normal under the previous administration if this were President Obama.
Exit question. Is it part of the problem, the fact that so many members of the mainstream media are Democrats or lean that way?
Oh, well, they definitely lean that way. And just to wrap up here, 91% of all coverage of this president has been negative since he's taken office. That's Pew, that's media research. So maybe they agree with this sort of rhetoric because of who the target, no pun intended, is.
Joe Concha explaining very well selective outrage in the media. Joe, thank you very much.
I'm just glad we got to talk about the Macarena.
Yeah.